Hello again. Now before we start I just need to say thank you to the Beard Struggle. It's these guys which are helping me to produce these videos, and if it wasn't for them I certainly wouldn't be able to do it. Now as a viewer of this channel you get 15% off at their store, and if you go to them and you get to checkout and type in the code RavenWolf15, which I'll put in the description below, that will get you 15% off your order, and that order helps this channel to keep working. So if you do that, perfect. So we're going to discuss the title of the video a little later on. What we're going to start with is a fungus called Daldinia concentrica. Now, the name of it I will get into a little later on in the video. For the time being, I just want to discuss a bit of folklore, and this is based in the 9th century AD, when Scandinavia, the Danes, the Vikings, were invading the Saxon British Isles. One of the Saxon kings, Alfred, had to go into hiding. Now, while he was in hiding, he was staying with people within his kingdom, and he was asked to look after their baking, and he didn't do a particularly good job of this. He fell asleep, leading to the cakes being burnt. Now, to hide his shame, he took these burning, smouldering cakes and scattered them around the countryside to hide what he had done. And that has given rise to the naming of this fungus that we're looking at today, of King Alfred's cakes. It's a black ball-shaped fungus that a lot of people are familiar with if they're into bushcraft, because it's used to create a smoulder block. And as we move on, that is what we'll go and look at. So the plan is we're going to leave now, head off to some woodlands which are going to be largely mixed, because what we'd ideally like to find is some ash or some beech, because that's the main place that this fungus likes to grow on. Where I've come is a nice mixed woodland. You can see on this side this is actually an old beech hedge that's been forgotten. That's why you can see these big stands of large trees. And then on this side, and in fact on the other side of it, is all plantation forestry. So with this mix of woods, from the mix of trees, it is more likely that I'll be able to find Alfred's cakes here, because there's that mix of habitats for it. While I was walking along, I found all of this. Now this looks like clover, but it's not. This is wood sorrel, and this is one of my particular favourites, because if you pick and eat one of these, it tastes like Granny Smith apple skin. It's almost a citrusy kind of apple flavour, and it's absolutely beautiful. So if you find this while you're walking through the woods, remember it looks like clover, it's got a nice matte hairy finish to its leaves, it's worth trying. It's really nice. And this is exactly what we're looking for. Just try to have a look around in this same area to try and find something different, because what we've got here is, I don't know how easy we'll see it, but this one's quite pink in colour, and when they're pink that means they're still growing, they've not reached full maturity yet. This one back here is old enough, but is full spore, so I'm going to keep looking until I can find something that's completely black, and then we'll use that one. Okay, so to address that title, I'm not telling people that they've been using these wrong. This is just something to think about, and it might make your life a little easier if you use one of these style fire lighters. Now, commonly, and this works hundreds of times for hundreds of people, I'm not disputing that, hold the striker in one hand, knife in the other, and either way up, you pull the knife forwards, causing sparks, and you light a fire. Now, a potential issue with that is if you are close to a very delicate, very well made tinder pile, and you start throwing your knife along the length of the striker, you run the risk of actually knocking your tinder pile over, knocking it out of where you want it to be. So what I'm going to show you here is just one simple change that could make your life a lot easier. Now hold your knife in place above the tinder pile, and like a pull cord or a rip cord, whatever you want to call it, pull back on the striker, causing the spark but without throwing towards your tinder pile. Right, I've had to come back into the front room to show you this because I haven't got enough hands to hold the camera. So what I'm going to try and do is use the striker to get one of these Alfred cakes glowing, and then you guys can see how they function quite nicely as a charcoal or a coal. So if I hold it up here, and you can see that where that spark's gone in, it's actually started smouldering away. And if you keep blowing on it, you can actually get that to grow. Now historically, this was actually a way of transporting fire. So if you could get a whole heap of these, you could actually get one glowing. And then as you walk it along, keep blowing on it, keep it going like this. If this one started to run out, you could transfer it over to another one, and you had a way of getting your fire moved across vast areas. So what I'll actually try and do for you now is use this one to try and get one of the others started. There we go. It's actually a lot easier with the striker than it's just passing over. There we go. One of King Alfred's smouldering, burning, burnt cakes. Now I lost a bit of video in transfer, so I'm just shoehorning this bit back in. The fungus itself, I've got the leftovers here. Daldinia concentrica, as I've told you its name is. That concentrica part is quite obvious when I turn it over. You have a look inside here, you can see these rings. Concentric rings, and these are akin to tree rings. They are essentially showing you seasons of growth. The fungus itself can grow between 2 and 10 centimeters, and its surface is covered, I wonder if I can get it good enough, there we go, it's covered in these perithecia. Now these are beak-like openings, and it's from here that the spores are ejected, and you can just see along that edge there, if I get a knife, give you a better view, just on the tip of my knife there, that's the internal structure of the perithecia, and that's, as I say, where the spores come out. And just on the very edge you can see that dark line. As far as I want to go with this today, that's the stroma, and that is what the spores need to make it pass. So it's essentially the skin of the fungus. Now, just a reminder that I am a lecturer in land and wildlife studies. I teach at Bicton College, and a link to their website I've put in the description below. If you are planning on getting into the conservation or the wildlife sector or the land-based sector in general, we offer courses which can get you ready and employable for that. So if it's something you want to pursue, please follow the link because we are taking on enrolment now for September 2020.